There's a company extremely dedicated to restoring the dignity of hard work and the relentless pursuit of greatness. That company is Fuel Hunt, and I am honored and humbled to have them as our sponsor. They have built a community that is all about choosing discipline over comfort and taking pride in the journey because comfort is a slow death. Their clothing isn't just apparel or fight gear, it is our uniform. 100% American made, Fuel Hunt clothing is a daily reminder for me and those around me that I am committed to being among the few who truly hunt for their goals. Join the movement today and wear your ambitions proudly. Everybody wants to eat, but only a few will hunt. Follow the link in the show notes and use GrillDad at checkout for 10% off your purchase. Welcome to the Daughter Podcast, where dads come to talk, grow, and thrive. I'm your host, Oscar, and this is a space for men who are committed to becoming stronger, more mindful, and more present, especially in the lives of their daughters. Fatherhood is a journey of growth. Each conversation on this podcast is a chance to learn, reflect, and level up as a dad and as a man.
And as I mentioned earlier, you think so much is done by all these groups and gangs, and yes, that does take place in a lot of areas. But man, it's overwhelming when you think how much is done by families, by friends, by those in the trusted circle. And especially when we talk about the fight against child exploitation and child sexual abuse, it's off the charts of what is being done in the families. And you know what's the, I don't know if I want to say most disappointing, but maybe one of the most heartbreaking is, do you know the number one offender? Biological fathers.
That was an episode on the Sean Ryan show that was full of that kind of information that frankly just makes me sick. As I listened to that video, it became more significant to talk about this issue. Recently, we were made aware of a father being arrested for molesting a 10-year-old girl, sexually abusing a 10-year-old girl. And it took me a couple weeks to do this because it's such a personal subject. I am a father of girls. I can never imagine in the farthest depth of my soul ever wanting to do that to my own daughters. I sat and I wrote that day a lot because I needed to conceptualize my thoughts about something so heinous to me and something so hard to fully grasp as to how someone would ever want to do that. What are we as fathers, if not protectors and defenders of our daughters? And that's protection physically, that's protection emotionally, spiritually, just all of that. And to think that a person in that position could take advantage of the trust that a daughter gives her father is beyond my comprehension. This is a heavy one because it's something that I don't think is talked about enough. And it's becoming more prevalent. In recent news, you've probably heard of Roadblocks and how Roadblocks, the company, is removing or censoring this person who was trying to catch some of these predators. And I think, and I don't know the full details, so I won't get into that. You could look it up yourself. But what I do sit and think is, how could anyone, this CEO of Roadblocks, even think that it's remotely okay to do that? In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the response to all of this controversy for them was, if you don't feel comfortable with your kids playing Roblox, then don't let them. Instead of saying, we will absolutely fix this because we don't want predators on our app. Why do I bring that up with this? Is that predators are out there. I've stopped telling my daughters, no, maybe not the 5-year-old, But I've stopped telling my daughters that there is no monsters or there's no such thing as monsters because they exist. But I do tell them that they're not in this home. And I refuse to be even associated with the potential of being the monster in the home, particularly when it comes to sexual abuse of a little girl. I know many won't listen to this probably because it's a sensitive subject. Maybe they don't want to hear about it because they probably hear about it in the news. I personally don't think it's in the news enough. I don't think that we are doing enough for the kids that are being abused. If you listen to the episode with Tim Tebow and Sean Ryan, you can also go onto the links. There's links there to donate to causes that are trying to prevent this, trying to bring light to this. And again, thinking that there is no light being shown on this is crazy to me, but there isn't. There's not enough. And although it happens all around the world, it's happening here, and it can be happening where you are. Current data says that 1 out of 4 girls will face something like this. That's crazy. And it absolutely should not be faced in their own home by someone who should love them and should protect them and should honor them. This is the Daughter Podcast, talking about potential for girls to go through this. The data is there for boys. 1 in 13 young boys will go through that. And again, although I gave you a short clip of the Sean Ryan show, Tim Tebow presents number data from all of this. But to me, the most disappointing part is that the big number comes from family, people who should be protecting them, and primarily their fathers. I am confident that the fathers listening to the Daughter Podcast and to any other podcast or media about being better for their daughters are all in agreement. We will not stand for that. And I will work diligently wherever I can to support these causes because this should not be happening. Hopefully you guys got something out of this, maybe even if just the information to go to that episode. If anything, if you just got a thought, think about that. Who are we as fathers if we're not protectors of our daughters? If we're not protectors of all daughters, of all kids? This should not be happening. It is happening, so let's bring it to light and find ways to prevent that. But if anything else, ensure that it is not happening in your home. Trust your gut. Sleepovers, friends, adults around your children, trust your gut. Sometimes it tells you what you need. You don't know why, but it tells you. Protect them. Let's be better as fathers, not just for our daughters, but for all daughters. Let's be safe spaces for our daughters and not monsters for our daughters. Until next time, guys, hopefully for a more upbeat episode. See y'all later. Hey, if you enjoy the Daughter Podcast, you'll love what we've got waiting for you at daughterpodcast.com. As soon as you visit, you'll be prompted to join our new email newsletter, a resource packed with valuable insights, practical tips, and powerful perspectives straight from our podcast episodes and incredible guests. Don't miss out on the chance to join the community and strengthen your journey as a father. Visit daughterpodcast.com today and subscribe, because great dads never stop growing. Thank you all for your constant support and for listening and watching the Daughter Podcast.